People that use Tinder. Got any good bad hookup stories? NSFW. Got drunk. Liked everyone. Went to sleep. Woke up. 0 matches. Deleted it in a fit of hungover anger. I am Zixi and I know it. And ain't no ducking app gonna tell me otherwise. During university last year, me and my buddies downloaded Tinder. I swiped right non-stop for a weekend and got about 300 matches and messaged all the attractive ones with various pickup lines. I had 2 one-night stands as a result of this, and coincidentally it was the same line that worked on both. Sit on my face and I'll eat my way to your heart. Less than 3. Every girl on Tinder just wants me to follow their Instagram. Ducking pointless. My friend ducked this stripper with half a shaved head and facial tattoos. She told him that she had been smoking meth all morning and that she had a boyfriend. We later found out that she's also pregnant. My friend said it was the best sex he's ever had in his entire life. My buddy used it. Found a girl. They've been dating since around Easter. They have a totally normal relationship. Except that we call her Tinder girl. I matched up with a 40-year-old recently single female. And me in my mid-20s. We met up at a bar. Had a drink and ended up making out in the parking lot. A few nights later we met up at her place and watched a movie. Of course, we didn't really watch the movie. She gave the best blowjob I've ever had in my life and was a squirter. So, thanks Tinder. Not me, but a friend of mine hooked up with the morning weather girl for the local news station thanks to Tinder. It was horrible. I installed the app for fun and just to duck around with when I'm bored. Ended up matching with a girl and talked to her for like 2 weeks and exchanged numbers and FB info. She was pretty, seemed really cool, and we shared a lot in common. Eventually she said we should hang out, and I said sure. We met up at a mall and just walked around and talked for about an hour, and I left. After I left, I knew I wasn't going to pursue her. Over text she seemed pretty cool, but in person she was just off. IDK, I can't really explain it. Anyway, within 2 minutes of me getting back in the car, she texted me wanting to know my real opinion on her now. Kinda weird, but whatever, she seems weird, so I just replied saying yeah, she's cool and whatever. Big mistake. Over the course of the next 2 hours, I received over 80 texts, about 10 calls and a couple VMs. All of her crying and saying I need to move in with her and her dad because she's suicidal and I needed to take care of her. I was blunt with her in saying no and this can't go on anymore and to stop contacting me, but nothing changed. I had to delete my FB profile, block her number, etc. I deleted the app after that. TLDR, Meta crazy. Not on Tinder myself as I am not single, but I was going through the ladies with my single male roommate the other night. We decided there are few common components of the Tinder basic female profile that seems to be a template for all the girls on there. 1. Some stupid uplifting quote. 2. Live, laugh, love. 3. A picture with your itches at bar, club, restaurant with drink in hand. 4. Picture in an exotic location. 5. Picture with sports ball jersey. 6. I hate drama, or a combination of all the above, or transgender. Hooked up with a girl who turned out to be a sister, sorority thing, of a friend. We saw Frozen. She called me later that night, trashed and asked me to pick her up. Took her to her house. She asked me to stay. Tried to get me to snort sugar off her breasts. As in, asked me, wanna do sugar off my titties? Nice girl. Really, but quite messed up. I met up with a girl so we could watch Frozen together. We actually watched Frozen together. She was disappointed and I was mesmerized. I'd never seen that before. Oh boy. Back in January I started using it and was matched with a girl who happened to also be in engineering at the same school as me. We started talking and next thing I knew we had gone on a few dates and everything was going great. A few days later I had a stats midterm. And while studying I got a text from her saying, "Hope your midterm goes well. Why don't you come over for board games after?" Now I'm usually pretty oblivious, but board games? On a Friday night? Yeah, I'm getting late, so I finish my midterm. Text her that I'm on my way and hop on a bus. The entire bus ride I'm smiling from ear to ear, waiting patiently until I finally arrive around 9:30 PM. I entered her place and bam, Bottle of wine on the table. Yeah, I'm getting laid. I go and sit down. We start drinking and bam. Settlers of Catan. We played for 2 hours. She hugs me goodnight and I leave. I didn't get laid. Duck. Edit. Thanks for the gold. As our roundster pointed out, yes, it can be played with 2 people. It's just not as fun and only takes about 20-30 minutes to play a game. Hence why 5 games in 2 hours is possible. I totally suck at Tinder. Met a girl for a one night stand. 4 months later, we're getting on a plane to go on holiday together. Ducking amateur. Got talking to a girl on there. We met up for drinks and it turned out to be the best date I've ever been on. We just talked all night and ended with a kiss. I walked her home and then we texted each other till we both fell asleep. It was like being 16 again or something. The next time I saw her I got a blowjob whilst we watched Titanic. We dated for 2 months or so and she was great, as was Thesix. We wanted different things relationship wise so things didn't last long but absolutely no regrets on my part. God bless Tinder I say. I met a girl and we met up for drinks. We talked for a while and eventually ended up going to a late lunch. We texted for a couple days and ended up going out again. And she took me back to her place. Easily one of the best times of my life. She's a sweet girl. I hope to see her again soon when our schedule matches up again. Man, reading all these stories really makes me wanna try Tinder just for the experience. Finally something I can answer. I've met 6 girls since I downloaded the app in January. Most have been pretty negative so it never got past conversation. Then I lost weight. I've experienced 2 firsts in my life thus far. 1. I've had sex on a beach at night. Complete with sticks poking my ass. 2. Post-orgasm a girl has patted me on the head and said good job. 10/10 would do again. I went out to get drinks with a girl. I proceeded to admit that I was completely broke and we would have to split the drinks. She not only paid for those drinks, but then paid for the food we later ate, or drinks, and gave me a quality BJ at the end of the night. Thanks, Tinder. I'm an identical twin. My brother was visiting me at school and I invited a girl I met on Tinder over. He doesn't use Tinder, but obviously didn't want to be alone for the night so I used the app to get him a girl too. He thought he was me the entire time all the way up until she left the next morning. Right before she left she asked my brother a question about my rugby team that he just couldn't answer. I got some angry messages afterwards. Edit. My brother and the girl are Redditors too. Let's see if they see this haha. Pretty happy with my story. Disclosure that I'm bi, but predominantly fool around with guys. I was in opposite a 6 mood or something so found a girl on there. Good sense of humor. Personality. That sort of thing. We wound up meeting up. Hooking up. And then kind of kept up with that frequently for weeks. Then months. And so on. Guess what's annoying is that she was a perfect match for me. We were both well educated. I was finishing my JD. She had a double major and was getting into a master's program. So we were both goal career oriented. Both into sports. Oddly both the same race which has been excessively rare for me. We're both a black-white mix. This isn't important for either of us but we were also the first black-white mix we had ever met let alone dated. First time I held someone's hand who was the same color as me so that was kind of cool. We loved the same jokes. Just a scary perfect match. So, grade 6. Cool set of friends. She cooks well. I cook too but I'm part Caribbean and she is not a fan of spicy food and cooking without curry is foreign to me. Our political views are different enough that we can still have a good discussion. And then I finished law school and went to take the bar in another state. I'm off and on sitting around just wondering what the duck am I doing and if I should just keep it going or what. She's honestly the first and currently only person in my life that I genuinely thought was marry worthy. TL. DR equals practically found perfection and now I don't know what the duck to do. I've had Tinder for 16 months and have still yet to get a message. Not even from spam bots. I recently started using Tinder and happened to get pretty damn lucky with the first girl I actually met up with. We met and got ice cream and did some making out and stuff the first time. And again another time. But the third time was quite a different story. She and I met at a bar that I usually go to on Wednesday nights. My friends work there and they have a great special called group therapy. She ended up being pretty drunk that night, which is unusual for her, and we started fooling around after heading to her apartment. At some point she told me that she was pretty inexperienced and wanted a good story if we were going to hook up. Somehow we ended up going to a lake in the middle of campus and found a secluded spot where we ducked for almost 2 hours. Inexperience apparently did little to affect her enthusiasm, and it did end up being a damn good story. Plan on seeing her again tonight equals. Edit. Done bars. Gotta love that disgusting piece of it. Hey, I'm looking to make $40 today. Do you think that's something you could help me with? UHH. No thanks. I decided to try it after a thing with a girl I thought I was in love with ended up not working out. Found a very beautiful girl on the app and she was extremely nice and interesting when I met her. The more I got to know her, the itchier she got, but I still found her wildly attractive, so I decided to keep on trying to hook up with her. One day while cooking dinner with, she explicitly told me that she is a prude and that hand holding, cuddling, kissing, and sex is only for someone she feels is extremely special to her. She is now subletting my apartment for the summer. Was talking to this pretty girl and we really connected, so we agreed to go on a date. We dated for a couple of months and she's my girlfriend now, so I'm pretty happy about it. I was reluctant to go when she asked me out cause I'd never met anyone from online before. We ended up hooking up and all that, which was nice, but on my ride home she called me, not once, not twice, but thrice. Then she texted me. I fell asleep and woke up with 7 text messages and quite a few Snapchats from her. I attempted to break it off nicely and politely inform her I wasn't looking to date or anything, but she wasn't really having it. I ended up insulting her until she said I was the biggest D alive and stopped texting me. 3/10. Would probably still do it again. My buddy just told me his story last week. Apparently he had it for a while and got nothing. His first hookup was some really cute girl. Showed me pics. That was somehow in the sports industry. She got him special access to a game, then they went to a party at somebody's uber expensive apartment. Rooftop garden in Nick. In the millions. He got a BJ in the bathroom. He is not the guy to brag, but it was over the top enough that he had to share the story. Thanks, Reddit. I just downloaded Tinder. Never knew what this was before. Also, last week I recommended the name Tinder to my pregnant best friend as a boy's name. I should probably retract that suggestion now. Moved to Seattle for the summer. Use Tinder to meet people. I've made some damn good friends so far, but I don't think that's using Tinder the right way. That's how I use it. I met one of my best friends on Tinder. We hooked up once and we were able to just laugh it off. It was actually great. Installed app. Swiped maybe 10 times. Found my ex-girlfriend. Deleted app. Edit. I really appreciate the upvotes, guys. I've been on Reddit for 2 years and I've already doubled my total karma. I don't comment much, but you guys rock. I got Tinder about a month ago and met with my first live one last week. We had actually been messaging for about a week or two. Pretty different schedules to blame. But we ended up meeting up for a concert, which led to drinks, which led to me inviting him back to my house, which led to sex. The sex lasted ducking forever and not in a good way. He was one of those drunks who just can't ducking come and instead of admitting defeat just keeps pounding and pounding. Gentlemen, this is not desirable. It hurts after not too long. There is chafing involved. In the end I was just so over it that I rolled over and went to sleep. Sorry, dude. I'm giving him another chance this weekend with hopefully less alcohol, so we'll see. I'll give it a 5/10. Had 6. Didn't die. Willing to try one more time. I met this girl on Tinder who works part-time nearby my apartment. She's really hot and stops by my place on her way home just to have a sex and then she leaves. It's awesome. Judging by your username and Tinder tail, I'm going to go out on a limb here and assume you're a creative storyteller. As a gay guy who has used Grindr and other apps for hookups, it's hilarious to see how gay people typically use Tinder to find more long-term relationships, but straight people use it almost exclusively for hookups. It's like, I didn't even realize straight people needed an app for that. I matched with an extremely attractive girl at college who invited me clubbing a few days before I was to go clubbing. However, Tinder came up in a conversation and we ended up pulling out our phones and talking about our matches. One guy recognized the girl. She's one of many who mess with guys trying to hook up. Itch. Way too late, but here we go. Me. You're my first Tinder match. Hi. Her. Really? Me. Yup. Her. I want to rub my pussy all over your beard. Me. Oh, it's like that. So after getting her number and calling her, I find out that she's a hairstylist. Which is perfect cause I had 3 weeks to my friend's wedding and needed a trim. Also she was super far away. But with the offer of a haircut, beard trim in addition to some adult fun I was in, I drive out all the way to her place. We smoke her hash and eat her mushrooms. Then proceed to foreplay. That's when I find out she's a squirter. Like a crazy squirter. Like, she was putting towels down before we started. Anyway, I go to town using my mouth and hands and such, and do just like they do in porn. I was making her squirt everywhere. It was crazy. Over and over. This isn't all about my skill. She explained she's very easy to come. So my beard is covered in her juices and she licks it up from the bushy redness and provides a blowjob. It was wonderful. Then she gives me a haircut and beard trim. Then we did some more foreplay and full on sex. I definitely didn't forget the condoms. I never hooked up with a squirter before that. And I haven't since. But I'm definitely never gonna forget it. I kept her coming till there was no squirt left. We went through 2 rounds of towel changes. The haircut was a bit shorter than I like. But whatever. Brian. I'll never forget our night together. Well, I'm showing up late, but I thought I'd share my horror story. It was the day after my birthday and I was looking to get some. So I hit up Tinder and ended up matching with a 46-year-old. Early 20s. She seemed alright, not smoking but definitely good enough. Now I was a little drunk when I talked to her, so I couldn't see the red flags. Big mistake. I ended up heading over there and when I got there my stomach sank. I knew something was up. I ended up walking into her room and she literally tore my clothes off and sniffed my junk like a pit bull finding fresh meat. She ended up sniffing my ball sack, sensually I might add, for a solid 20 minutes. She proceeded to teach me how to make out, which consisted of her shoving her tongue down my throat and moving it violently. She gave me the worst BJ of my life and asked me to stay for dinner. I've never left a house faster. Needless to say, I did not continue talking to her. But on the plus side, I checked and I'm clean. TLDR. Got my balls sniffed. My friend met her now boyfriend on Tinder. I'm happy for her. I got a couple decent hookups. Then got bored with it. I also got a few invites to go over people's houses and watch movies. I wonder what I missed on those nights. Went on a date with a girl that ended up back at my apartment. The heavy stuff starts, and I find out she's on her period. Duck. So, like any gentleman does on the first date, I suggest show her 6. She's down. Hell yeah. Show her 6 on the first date. Fast forward a couple weeks, and she develops feelings which aren't mutual and puts the brakes on, and we quit talking for a while. Out of nowhere she suggests a hike in a nearby state park, which I later found out was a date designed to make sure a 6 didn't happen. We ended up hooking up about 100 yards off the hiking trail back in the woods. The real kicker, I picked a wood tick off of her left butt cheek, like it had actually bitten down and clamped on mid-6, and to this day she has no idea. My friend is something of a Tinder guru. She helped me set up my profile and told me how to start off conversations for maximum effect. Ended up talking to my friend loads about Tinder. Ended up banging my friend. Thanks Tinder. I recently split with my ex-girlfriend. She dumped me. Used Tinder to talk with people. I travel a lot for work. Started talking to this one girl in a city I frequent. We met up one night and had dinner, then went out for drinks. I hadn't gone drinking like we did that night in quite a while. Ended up going back to my hotel room. Last thing I remember is checking in. But we had 6. That I don't remember, so that sucks. Hadn't so since before Tinder existed, but a lot of my friends use it. Female friend met some guy at a local Mongolian BBQ. Ducking excellent food, and had me and my so tag along as strangers in case the dude was sketchy. Things started normal enough. Then when they got their food he whipped out a butterfly knife and insisted on eating everything with it. He would also play with it while talking to her in between bites. Shwing squoo, so you like Transformers shink. I messaged this Indian girl late one night and ended up going to her place at around 6 AM. She lived on the first floor of some dorms in a college across town. We got down to business immediately and slept after. She seemed pretty cool. I woke up naked with a tight elastic band around my ankles. Basically tied up my ankles. She had hidden my clothes. She insisted on spending the day together. But to make sure I didn't run away, she didn't tell me where my clothes were. So we're sitting around. I'm still naked after 3 hours. She's fully clothed now and asking me all about myself. To make things even stranger, she wrote down each of my answers to her questions. I waited until she left to use the bathroom. Then I searched the entire dorm for my clothes. I found them in the refrigerator in the vegetable drawer. I got dressed so damn quick and jumped out of the window. My friend asked a girl if he could paint her green and spanked her like a disobedient cucumber. She said he'll bring the pickle if you bring the deal, and he got laid. Went the wrong way on his way back and ended up on the coast hours away from home, but that's another story. I met a girl on there. We met up and drove around my city for a while until she pulled into one of our sports parks. She wanted somewhere private and I had the great idea of going back to the secluded baseball diamonds and literally rounding the bases while walking around the infield. So I matched with this girl and we had good banter. Meet up for dinner and I'm legit in love. Find out she is sober, like me. Loves Taco Bell and donuts. We end the first date on a swing set near her house eating donuts and sweetly kiss goodnight. Second date. More donuts. She comes back to my place and goes down on me. Despite the donuts and Taco Bell, she has this ducking silly yoga body, like best I've ever seen. Third date. I'm nervous, I guess. Not being myself. I like her too much. I'm going to marry this chick. She slow rolls me after that and after a few days tells me she doesn't date me. Fast forward a few weeks. My donut shop Instagrams pics of these D-shaped donuts, so I text her a picture and say thinking of you with the kissy face emoji. We text friendly food pics back and forth over the next few weeks and finally one night she tells me she's been thinking about my cock. So it goes. She thought I wanted to get serious too quick and she just wants to duck. She comes over the next night. We duck. Go to Taco Bell, where I have my first quesarito. We duck again. She sleeps over and we duck one more time in the morning before she leaves. 10/10 with Tinder again. I met a guy on Tinder about 3 months ago and he seemed pretty nice. Mostly attractive. Plenty of shared interests and a bit older. We talked for a bit on and off for a few days before deciding to meet up for a date. We went to a park and talked for a bit and then started making out. Both of us got pretty riled up and decided that we should probably duck. So we found a quiet space mostly hidden and had sex. Later I go home and my mom asks me where I went on my date. And when I told, she replied, "Oh, that's wonderful. That's where me and your father got married." I defiled my parents' wedding venue by ducking a stranger I met on Tinder. It's both hilarious and horrid. I don't think I'll ever be able to look at their wedding photos the same way.